Raising a child is one of the defining experiences of a parent's life. But imagine discovering out of the blue that your children were actually fathered by the doctor who delivered them. Sounds like a movie of the week, but it's a living nightmare for one Las Vegas family, at least one. George Knapp of the I-Team is here with the bizarre tale. George.
Paula, this is a difficult story to tell, not only because of the sensational nature of the allegations, but because no one who is involved is willing, or more accurately, able to talk about it. Efforts are underway to slap a cone of silence over the whole sordid mess and to seal it up forever. That's not going to happen. Once this all comes spilling out, a lot of families might be asking the question, who's your daddy?
We probably go through.
When we first interviewed Pat Fulmer 3 years ago, he told us about his latest venture, a commissary that surfaced mobile food vendors. What Fulmer didn't tell us back then was that his life was unraveling. He had a successful construction business, a net worth of $3 million, a loving wife, and 4 adult children. But that life is ancient history. His descent into a personal hell began in 2002 when his oldest daughter showed him a newspaper clipping about the doctor who delivered all 4 of the Fulmer kids. It made him sick to his stomach.
I liked it very, very much.
Dr. Quincy Fortier is a legend in Las Vegas medical circles. His private practice began in 1945, 2 years before Bugsy Siegel opened the Flamingo Hotel. He's cared for thousands of patients and became a specialist in fertility medicine. In 1991, he was honored as Nevada's Physician of the Year, but the good doctor harbored dark secrets. 5 years ago, Dr. Fortier was accused by a former patient of using his own sperm during artificial insemination procedures back in the 70s. A lawsuit was filed, but was quickly settled and sealed. Fortier continued his fertility practice from a small office behind his home, even after passing his 90th birthday. When Pat Fulmer saw the news clipping, he worried that his 2 youngest daughters, Mary and Connie, might not be his. In a sworn deposition, he explained how he surreptitiously obtained hair samples from the daughters and sent them away for DNA testing, against the wishes of his wife, Carol Lee, whom Fulmer said was in complete denial. The tests confirmed the family's worst fears. Pat Fulmer was excluded as the girls' biological father. He called the family together and told them the news. The daughters said it didn't matter, that Pat would always be their dad, but Fulmer couldn't let it go. At one point, he drove to Fortier's home and had the doctor in the crosshairs of his deer rifle, but he broke down crying and didn't shoot. In subsequent court documents, Pat and Carol Lee both stated that this was the beginning of the end for their family. Mrs. Fulmer's denial became a deep depression. The couple filed for divorce. Their neglected businesses collapsed, and Fulmer filed for bankruptcy. The kids still speak to their parents, but not like before. Under court order, DNA samples were obtained from Dr. Fortier, and the results found a 99% likelihood that he is the biological father of Connie and Mary. The Fulmers filed a civil suit. Fortier, now 93 years old, finally closed his practice, put his multi-million-dollar estate into a trust, and counted on his lawyers to keep a lid on the lawsuit while a settlement could be reached. But the depositions already filed in the case spell it out in detail. Both of the Fulmers say they specifically told the doctor that no sperm other than Pat Fulmer's was to be used in the insemination procedures. When asked if he had mixed his own semen in with Pat Fulmer's, Dr. Fortier responded, "Very definitely." Briefs written by Fortier's lawyer Brent Bryson argue there is no Nevada law to prevent a doctor from doing something like this. Neither Bryson nor Fortier would comment for this report, but in depositions, the doctor claimed he told the Fulmers all about it, although he admits he never got them to sign a consent form. Besides, all of his patient files have been lost or destroyed, he said. If anyone would want to comment, we figured it would be Pat Fulmer, and we waited for him at his post office box.
The case has been settled, and I have no comment on it.
But you don't want to say anything about whether you think he's the father of your kids?
I can't comment. I'm sorry.
Settlements in cases like this one often include confidentiality clauses which might explain why all of the parties are refusing to comment. If it were just the Fulmers, the story would still be worth telling, but they are not alone. When Dr. Fortier was asked how many other times he used his own sperm to impregnate a patient, he said the answer was, quote, unknown. Since he performed these services for more than half a century, this could be a ticking time bomb for who knows how many families. We'll look at that part of the story tomorrow night at 11 o'clock.
Did the mom know?
Well, you know, in retrospect, she said that she remembers seeing the doctor during one of these procedures mixing up a batch of semen. And she asked him, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm concentrating it."
And is the state looking into this?
You know, a complaint was filed with the state medical board almost 3 years ago. It's not yet been heard by the full board. That's going to happen on October, even though Dr. Fortier has already closed his practice. Now, anyone who wants to take a look at the complaint can see it on our website, klestv.com. Basically, the board doesn't have many tools to use against a doctor who does this, since there's no specific law against it, as long as he gets the patient's consent, which he may or may not have done in this case, and we'll look at that part of the story tomorrow as well.
See you tomorrow,
All right.
George.